Is mulch good for your garden? And if it is, when do you use it? Well, I planted my garden about a month ago, and you can see it's coming along pretty nicely. And now is the time that I put mulch around my plants. But I don't put mulch around all of them. And I use two different kinds of mulch. And there's lots of reasons why I have those choices. So I want to share that with you as you come into the garden with me. I grow two different kinds of corn, and even though I planted them at the same time, they have different growth rates, and so one looks bigger and more full than the other, and that's just the nature of these two different types of corn. Now, corn is the one vegetable that I do not put mulch around. Corn loves to breathe, and as the corn continues to grow, I will take a hand rake and I will stir up the ground around the outer perimeter of these corn plants. I don't want leaves on there because then I can't really stir up the soil. And later, as the corn gets really big, it puts out these roots like fingers, like that, around their stalk. And I want them to find access to the soil underneath without interference with a big layer of mulch to go through. So I do not put mulch right directly around my corn plants. However, I am going to use one type of mulch in the pathways. Another plant that I don't put mulch around is tomatoes. So there's a big reason why that may or may not apply to you, but I have to keep this netting so close to the ground here that stink bugs can't possibly figure out a way to get in there. And so if there's leaves down or mulch, they crawl in and around the cracks and they get in anyway. So even if I had mulch here and then I covered it up, they would still figure out a way to get inside. And for me, stink bugs is the biggest enemy I have for tomatoes. Now, if you don't have that struggle, then by all means, put mulch around your tomato plants. They love it. But unfortunately for me, I can't use it here. And one little bonus of keeping this netting down with boards, now and then I'll find a slug in here because they like to hide under boards. And it's a great trap for slugs. So kind of dual purpose here. So right now the stink bugs are not a problem because there's no tomatoes in there. And I haven't seen stink bugs yet this season, but I'm sure they're coming. So one of my chores this weekend is to get more boards so that it's a complete trap or barrier all the way down. Just putting these little plates here and there, they're going to figure out a way to come up in between here and get in. So I've got to bring in some more boards, scrap boards that we have on our property, and I'm going to go ahead and line these beds with the boards. The path in between is going to get one type of mulch. And the reason I brought this broken cup along, if I were to find a slug underneath this board, I would put them in here, and you have two choices at that point. You sprinkle them with salt, or if you forgot to bring your salt shaker out to the garden, then take them somewhere where it's a hard surface and crush them or cut them in half. Either way, it works. When we were harvesting, aka raking up the leaves, I had my husband just dump them in various spots around the garden. So these are really convenient here because I knew I was going to have to use them right here in these two beds. The corn is right there. I don't know if the camera's got it in view, but I will not be putting the leaves around the corn. However, I've got a pathway here and all the way down that I am going to use that second type of mulch. So you want to surround the plants on all sides, all around them. This is going to help keep them from drying out during the daytime when the sun gets up there and just dries our sandy soil out. And as the leaves break down, the nutrients that it adds to the soil is just great for green beans, any kind of bean plant, and peas. These are black-eyed peas. There's one area of my garden that I have learned by experience, do not put mulch there, because there's a weed that loves mulch and it creeps into my garden. If you live in the deep south, you are probably familiar with this weed. So this is called dollar weed, and what it does is it sends these roots up underneath the soil, and if you have mulch like right there, it climbs in underneath the mulch and you don't even know it's there until it shows up all in throughout your bed. So I don't put mulch around the perimeter of my garden because I keep it up. So one of the things that I need to do in the next week or so before this dollar weed climbs on into the garden is to go through and just hoe all this. And if there's any dollar weed trying to creep into my garden, see there? That's a root. It sends it that way and on into my garden. I'll pull it up. Just be sure that you're getting all the roots. If you break it off, then you got to go searching for the root that you left behind. Look how persistent it is. It grew right up through this piece of rotten wood. So my year-long maintenance chore is to keep an edge cut all the way down my garden, all the way to the end, and just keep it clear of anything growing, including some of this that I would normally just leave because it doesn't hurt anything, but I don't want the dollar weed creeping up in with that weed. So I try my best to keep it clean with just dirt all the way around my garden. This is the other type of mulch that I use. You might know it as tree chips. I call it tree mulch. This technically is from stump grinding. It's the same thing, except this particular pile has a lot of dirt in it, but it's okay. The dirt is fine. If you're a real stickler about me calling it an organic garden when I don't know where the dirt came from, well, I guess you could say maybe it's 99.9% organic. But anyway, I use free material and I try to get it from sources that aren't heavily not a heavy use of insecticides and weed killers and things like that. And I do happen to know where this came from, and believe me, they weren't doing anything in their yard. So it is fairly safe to use. I've been using it. So this is what I put in between my beds. And there's a terrific advantage of using tree mulch around your beds. First of all, as it breaks down, it's adding nutrients into your soil. And then if you watched me build my beds, you know that that soil that eventually ends up in the pathways, I use that and toss it up over the top of the beds that I build. So it actually has about a year to break down, and then it's just beautiful soil at the end of a year. You have to be very, very careful to not till in tree mulch. It is wood, and as wood decays, it takes up nitrogen. And if you've got it in your soil, then it's going to take the nitrogen from the soil while it's breaking down, and it's taking away from your plants that need the soil. So that's another reason why I'm careful to put it in the pathways. I don't want to, after the spring garden is done, I don't want to then accidentally then start, turning it back over and adding the tree mulch into the topsoil. It's just not ready for that yet. It needs a year to break down. Now this, to get it between all my pathways, is going to take at least 2 days, maybe 3 or 4. I just pace myself and do what I can that day. So let's head back over to the garden, and I can't wait to tell you what it's really, really good for. Putting this in the pathways is a little bit easier than just putting leaves around. That thrilling advantage of using chip drop is this is coarse, and slugs do not like to travel over the top of it. I found that out by accident when I put it up around a whole lot of, all my sweet potatoes as they were growing, and compared to the previous year, it knocked out the slugs about, I would venture to say, about 98%. And that is an amazing thing. So now, around all of my beds, and even on the other side of this, but not out toward the grass, I'm going to put this to border all of my beds to discourage the slugs from coming in to my actual garden beds. Slugs are extremely destructive. They're probably good in the compost, but man, they'll eat bean plants. They love sweet potatoes. Yeah, slugs are not your friend, not in your garden. Do you use mulch? I'd love to hear from you. We're all learning from each other, including me. Some of you have some really great ideas. Well, the sun is up. I want to wear my sun body hat and get my men's white all cotton shirt on, and I'll work for just a little while longer before I call it a day out here in Central Florida, where it's really, really hot, and it's only April, beginning of April. Thanks for watching. Okay, that's it. Call it a day. That's enough for one day. Time for a glass of tea. Put water first. Remember, drink a tall glass of water first. Yes, ma'am.